This is BC Libraries Information Literacy for the Historian. Today we're going to be talking about adding a book chapter, and journal article into your Zotero account. First, we're going to take a look at a book edited by Kimberly Crenshaw and a couple of others with a reprint of her 1988 article on intersectionality. To add that book now into Zotero, you can look at the book and open it up to its title page. To replicate that, I'm going to go to books.google.com and I've already pulled up that particular book. You can often view a preview of the book in Google Books. Here's the cover of the book that we've already seen, and I'm scrolling down specifically to that title page, which is the page with the title. Here we get the full title of the book as well as the edited by information. We can use that to start putting together our entry. Here's then my Zotero screen. I'm going to shrink it down so that I can see the screen behind it. And I'm going to add that green plus button. You could go to more to see your full list of options. Since I add a lot of books, I've got books in my short list of 5. Here, I type in my title. Next is the author field, the creator field. For us, looking here, we see that it's edited by. To change that to editor, you click on the down arrow and click on editor. Go ahead and add in all 4 names. For Chicago, skip the series. Series that has volumes, go ahead and put those in. For edition, you only want it if it's after the first, meaning second and forward. Our next field that matters for us is actually the place and the publisher. Here, the title page is kind enough to give us both place of publication and publisher. Note that for place of publication, if there are multiple listed, you want the one geographically closest to you. So for place and publisher. For date, doesn't tell us on the title page, so we're going to go to the verso, which is the back of the title page. And here the verso tells us that the copyright is 1995, so we're going to go ahead and use that. We don't have to worry about number of pages, but we do actually then want to put in languages, in part because that language field will tell Zotero how to deal with the title and other fields. You can write in the full word, but you can also use the 2 or 3 letter ISO codes. The last field that we want for book is to put in the short title. Here, it's going to be the information before the colon, which would be before the line break, or the first 3 clear words or phrases, depending on how the title is set up. So for us, it's easy in this point, critical race theory. We do not need access dates or URLs if the item was born in print. If the item is born digital, like a blog post, then we would want to add that URL in. And that is a complete entry for an edited volume. Now, to add in a chapter of this book, we're going to click for our drop-down menu and duplicate item. We're going to change item type to book section, which is multiple different kinds of book sections, including chapters. And now we're going to go scroll down until we get to Crenshaw's specific chapter that is a reprint of that article. And here we have it, Kimberly Williams Crenshaw, Race Reform and Retrenchment. Now, the next 2 things we need are the page numbers as well as the short title. For the pages, the start is easy, just whatever it says in the table of contents. For the last page, if you had your book in front of you, you just flip to those pages. For us at the moment, we're going to go to the next chapter and subtract by 1 for 126. Short title, same rules. First 3 words are before the colon. And the last thing we need is our book chapter author. So we add in that plus, we change the editor to author, and we put in Crenshaw as a duplication of the name, once as editor and the other as author. And there we have it, a complete entry for a book chapter with a focus towards Chicago 17th edition full note. To add in a journal article, we're going to put in Joan Walsh Scott's 1986 article on whether gender is a useful category of analysis. I've actually already pulled up the article. You've got the bibliographic information to the left and a look at that first page of the article on the right. Instead of adding this particular article by hand, I'm going to make use of the Zotero connector. You'll notice that there you have a square with lines in it. That symbolizes a journal article. We can go ahead and click that, and it'll tell you that it is saving the bibliographic information for that article into your Zotero folder. It'll also mention that it is not saving the full text of the PDF, in part because you'd actually have to pay for that. We've got a generally full record. However, you want to check your records to make sure and verify their accuracy. Zotero is not a learning algorithm and it is not an AI. That means if the information in a database like JSTOR is wrong, it's going to be wrong in Zotero, and then your bibliographies, your footnotes will be inaccurate. So checking down my fields, we've got gender, useful category of historical analysis, that matches, author name matches. We've got then here the publication information. We've got American Historical Review, volume and issue number, page range, not individual starting page, so the full scope, and then date. Our date is actually only listed as a year right now, which is exactly what we would want if we were looking at a book. For a journal article or a magazine article, you want to be as specific as possible. So here I'm going to add in a -12 for that December, and you'll notice that Zotero recognizes that as a year month. I could also put in December 1986, and that'll recognize it as a month year. Just make sure it matches. Formatting is not a big deal. We then skip this information here and go ahead and put in our language code again. This is something now that differs a little bit from what we were doing with the book. We've got our DOI, document object identifier, as well as our URL filled in here. You'll notice that they're short and legible. That's not wrong to include in Chicago 17th edition full note citations, but you don't need them and you should take them out unless the object is born digital. I'm going to go ahead and throw them in my notes so that I have the record, but that they won't show up in my bibliography. And the last thing we need is to check our short title. It's a little bit awkward, but it's before the colon, so technically right. And we're good. In our next video, we're going to take those 3 items and take a look at how to put them into footnotes and a bibliography. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns about finding material or your research project generally.